Hey, good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is Thursday, October 30th. Hope everybody's doing well. 10:40 a.m. New York City time. And as I had mentioned, I've been off. Well, not off, but I've been kind of tied up the last few days. And so that's why I haven't been making any videos. I think I did make a note of that last Friday or over the weekend whenever I made my last one. I did not get a chance to jump in and make any updates the last couple of nights because I just wasn't available. And anyways, figured I'd jump in now and just do a quick update. A couple of moves going on. Unfortunately, none of which I took place that I participated in, which is kind of bummer. But as I said, I was a little tied up and distracted, not really watching the charts too much, really, since Monday. Well, Monday, yes, but yesterday and Tuesday, I really was not on at all. So, but still do an update here. So make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. So we'll just jump right in. We'll just look at all these here. So Australian dollar. So I was looking. I think, and again, I apologize, guys, but I think I was talking about this move up and then this pullback. And if I wasn't talking to you all, then it was just in my own mind that I was looking at this as kind of a liquidity area or a possible pullback area right here, and to see if this went up again. And you can see basically it did come down. It took out a couple of other swing areas. This is the 1 hour chart, by the way, which is 1 to 4 hour are kind of my two preferred charts to look at. And these are Heikin-Ashi candles again that I like to use at least just for overall analysis. I switch over to regular candlesticks when I need to like fine tune an entry or exit, but the Heikin-Ashi give you a nice, broader, cleaner view of the trend, anyways. So anyways, so you can see we came down here. We did, like I said, bust through a couple of layers here, and then I had this one kind of marked off because we had this really big move out of here, so I had kind of this area marked off. And we came down here, tagged it. Looked like it was going to go up again, but you can see it very quickly ran out of steam. You can see these Heikin-Ashi candles with, they're bullish candles, but they have lots of wicks on both sides. And then price came in. It has now broken through here. So if you guys recall, again, I trade mostly now on COT data, commitment of traders, and also seasonality where appropriate, and price action, market structure type. So again, we have not received any commitment of traders data updates in a month now, unfortunately, and it looks like it's going to be 5 weeks tomorrow because every Friday we should be getting that update, and that's not going to happen. So so we're really just flying a little blind. Seasonality I don't really use with currency futures, is the Australian dollar. So basically, I'm running off old COT positioning and just technicals, which I don't really like doing. So that's part of the reason why I've been hesitating even trading these, because I feel like I have like one hand behind my back with this stuff. But it does look like potentially this downtrend's going to resume here after a pretty big corrective move up. The 4 hour chart, we've been moving up here since about mid-October after we bottomed out here. But we've come back up to kind of this major previous level up here. I guess, I would just say this is just a simple resistance area. Price seems to be rejecting off here. So if you guys recall, when we did have the last COT update 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was pointing to lower prices in the Australian dollar futures. So we'll see. But technically, this does look somewhat bearish here now that this failed, and now we've come down and making new lows. So I'm still basically going to be looking for, some sort of pullback and then resumption of the downtrend. Although, like I said, I'm these are not my favorite assets to trade right now. Not having any idea where the commercial traders or the large specs are sitting on this, and so I'm not going to be jumping into any a lot of trades on this. But uh, if I do decide, it'll be one contract just to kind of test it out and just see from a technical standpoint um, if it's going to hold up. So that's British pound, excuse me, Australian dollar. We'll just hit British pound really quick. Now, British pound, on the other hand, as you guys also remember from me saying that the last COT report was suggesting higher prices. Well, clearly that has not worked out. But again, it could easily have switched to more bearish. Now, I just don't know because I don't have the data. So this, again, uh, if you recall from my last video, I was talking about this area, and price did come back up, retested that, and then just collapsed again. And so this is definitely looking pretty bearish. 1 hour chart, we've continued just to make little waves down here. But again, much like the Australian dollar, I'm just kind of like watching this, and I'm not going to really be an active trader in either one of these markets until I can kind of get the bigger picture of what's going on from from the large traders and the commercial traders on where they're at with positioning on these markets, because it just knowing that data really helps give you a lot more confidence than just looking at a price chart and just trading this strictly on the technicals. So we'll keep an eye on it, but both of these are looking pretty bearish right now. Okay, soybeans. We'll go on to soybeans. So again, we should be in more of a bullish positioning on this, and I missed this trade, unfortunately. Let's see, when this up move started back up. This actually was during the pre-market hours here, where we kind of popped up here a little bit, and then we had the market opened again for the session today, and it had already moved really far. I certainly was not going to jump into it. I don't like, I've really trained myself to basically let these things go if I'm missing. I'm not going to go chasing it. Once it's already kind of made this low and then pop to a new high, I'm not buying up here at these highs because it almost never works, and you end up going into big drawdown, and if not being stopped out. And you can see after making that high, it has pulled back. But the most important takeaway on this is that soybeans and the whole soy complex and grain complex in general is still basically in a bullish positioning from a seasonality standpoint. Again, we don't have COT data, but we do have pretty strong seasonal data on our side. So I will continue to look for longs. Obviously, I missed this one, and actually there were a couple of them this week. This one goes back to, well, this was last week, this 1024. If we go to the hourly chart, yeah, I mean, so the only other real one was basically this one here, which really didn't last very long. And then we had a further pullback, and then this pop higher. So I haven't really missed too much here, but I'm still basically looking for pullbacks and then buying opportunities in soybeans. Okay. On to soybean meal. It's almost the same type of thing. Okay, we had this pullback and then to this new high today. I'm obviously not chasing this, so soybean meal has just been on a tear. I exited my position on this, which kind of kicking myself now because this thing has just kept going beyond where I had gotten out. And all of these little pullback areas, this is the hourly chart, these are all really good entry areas, right? Every time this thing pops any red bearish Heikin-Ashi candles, as soon as it pops a blue one, has been an entry. So we had this pullback, blue candle back in, blue candle back in, blue candle back in, blue candle. This one a little bit of drawdown, but whatever. Put your stop below the previous swing. Blue candle popped higher. This is the only one that really got a little ugly up here. And then, popped higher. So again, I'll be waiting for another sort of pullback here. Kind of looking at this as being our level. So any pullback and then pop higher here to continue this, the up move, which is Still intact here on from a seasonality standpoint on soybean meal, so that's what I'm looking for. Corn has been trying to go higher. It's been a struggle, that's for sure. It's been a struggle here. You can see the last couple of days it's just been chopping every time it tries to go higher. So this is a little concerning because I do have a long position on corn on my funded account. It was in profit when the market opened today. I have a suspicion looking at this now. I haven't looked at it in the last hour or so that it's probably still in profit, but getting closer back to break even. I may get out of it just because I don't like this kind of like chopping here where we're making like a triple top here where price tries to go higher and keeps getting knocked off this area. It doesn't mean it's going to turn and start going down. Again, from a seasonality standpoint, we are still very bullish in corn through early next year. So, but we might see a larger pullback here, and I just don't like this kind of these attempts to go higher that keep getting rejected, and then seeing really bearish Heikin-Ashi candles coming out of that. Now the sellers are also not able to push it any lower either. We kind of have this little range that's sort of setting up here, sort of like this. Where the sellers are not able to take control, but the buyers are not able to push it higher either. So this could just be another little accumulation area, and then before we go higher. But it's a little messy compared to these nice, these pullbacks that we've been having here. And corn does tend, like soybeans, does tend to have can be very volatile, and you can have some pretty big swings. But overall, I do think it's still bullish. We're just, like I said, we could just be taking a little pause here. But, I'll wait for this to kind of like straighten out again. Like I said, I am holding along in my funded account, that I'm going to have to like seriously think about whether I want to keep holding it through this volatility or not. So, but like I said, we do have the seasonality on our side, but we don't have the COT data. And that's the missing piece that I wish I had to kind of complete the puzzle here. So, okay. And then lastly, crude oil. You can see I took a short here in crude oil. And from a seasonality standpoint, if we look at crude oil, let's see here. Where are we? Crude oil. We are still basically from a seasonality point looking at lower prices in crude oil through early December. We did have this really bullish run up here. It hit this resistance area and started selling off again. And I kind of missed this first leg down, but when it started going down again, I decided to try to sell it in here. It's just, I have one contract on, but you can see it's running into a lot of support right here. And, I'm basically sitting at about break even right now. So I may just jump out of this one too. Because we had this really bullish run up here. And again, I don't have the COT data. And this is one of those markets that's very sensitive to, where the big players are sitting. And the COT data is really important. The seasonality data is important too. But, the confluence is the best confluence, again, is going to be to have the COT data and the seasonality on your side. When you have those two in confluence, then it can give you a lot more surety about when you go to the price chart and look at the technicals to say, okay, what am I waiting for here? And, this could just break down. It could just be, again, sort of like with corn, just taking a break here and eventually it'll break lower. But, again, prices were at really extreme lows down here. So it's going to be hard for prices to really go lower again because it's just, we were already at a lot of big lows down at this area. So we'll see what happens. But I am holding this short. As you can see, I have it in my funding account too, but I'm not sure if I'm going to hold it. It's just kind of like stalled out right now. So I could hold it to my stop loss is just above this swing, as you can see, the red dotted line. And so if it did go up there and take that out, then that's fine too. But But my whole thing is like if you're trading trending markets, like they have to move. If you start going like multiple days of just kind of like ranging and getting stuck at a certain level, that doesn't mean it's going to reverse and go back the other way, but I'm just not comfortable holding it. It's not worth tying up my equity in a trade that's not doing anything and then potentially having it turn into a loss. But of course, if you close it and then the next day you go and you can see it breaks down and starts heading lower, and then you kick yourself for getting out of it. So that's the whole psychology of trading. But when I enter a trade, I want to see it move. I mean, I may give it a day or two to kind of, take its little pause and then keep going. But if it doesn't, and it starts doing what this is doing now, then that uh, concerns me. And, basically, like, I don't necessarily want to sit there and tie up equity on something that's not doing anything. I'd rather just move on and wait for, a better setup, or wait for it to at least, confirm and start going again. So, and again, just looking at where prices come from, it's going to be hard pressed for it to go lower here. Um, but we do still have seasonality on our side, and so for another like month or so. But this big rally up here may have been like a kind of a precursor to what eventually will be a seasonality shift and potentially go a little higher. So anyways, so that's it. So yeah, not a heck of a lot. Some continuations on a couple of these things like soybean meal and soybeans, but some stagnant price action now in corn and oil, and downtrends apparently continuing in these currency markets. But again, these two currency markets I follow, I'm probably not going to actively trade these until if and when, well, hopefully if, or excuse me, when we get COT data back. So these are not ones that I'm like thoroughly interested in looking at, but they are, they are definitely looking pretty bearish right now. So yeah, so that's it, guys. Just wanted to jump in, make a quick one here. Not really too much to talk about from a standpoint of how I'm trading now. So I'll keep an eye on things, wait for some better setups. I'm just really trying to be more disciplined and not just take trades. And I really am taking a lot fewer trades than I used to, and that's been a little bit of a mental adjustment. But I basically just go. If I don't see it, I move on. And if I miss a move, then I miss a move. And I definitely did the last couple of days because I wasn't really in front of the charts that much. That's going to happen, right? You're never going to catch every move unless you're constantly glued to the chart, and you shouldn't do. That's not healthy anyway. So if you miss something, you miss it. There'll be another setup. You can't let FOMO get to you and start trying to chase after moves like what you see in soybeans, chasing this move. It's already kind of made its move, broke the new highs. Chances are now it's going to pull back, and I'm not going to like try to jump on that freight train or, catch a falling knife on a downtrend, whatever analogy you want to use. Wait for your opportunities to set up. But when you start seeing this big volatility and this price just whipping around like this versus these nice little gentle pullbacks where it's really easy to see these and jump in, that's what you want to take advantage of. When you start seeing this crazy whipsawing around, that's like, okay, take a step back, let things kind of like settle down and see what happens. So all right, so anyways, guys, that's it. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have something new to report. And again, any questions, comments, leave them down below. Smash that like button on the way out, please, and subscribe to the channel, and have a great rest of your day. Okay, thanks.